Hey everybody, how you doing? Today on Bones Collector, this video is going to be about the best tile laying games in my library. My top 10. That's what it's going to be called, the top 10 tile laying games. These are games that are out of our library that we hang on to year after year, that I have no intention of ever getting rid of, that play so smoothly and so deliciously that every time I think about them, I just want to throw them down the table and play them over and over again. So let's get started with this top 10 tile laying games, and I'm going to start with this one, and it's called Orichalcum. Orichalcum is a tile laying game by Bruno Cathala and Johannes Gupi. And on your turn, you're going to select one of these cards, action cards, that's going to give you an action to take during the game. And on that action card is one of the terrain tiles. And there's like 1s, 2s, and 3s, I believe. And you're going to take that card, it's going to give you a certain action, and you're going to take the tile and you're going to build on your player board with that terrain tile, and you get certain benefits for doing so, the way that you build them. And the goal of this game is to score 5 points first. That's it, 5 points. So that every game in Orichalcum is close. You can just guarantee it. When you get your 5th point, everybody else was just about to score. That's just the way this game works. I love it. One of the things you have to do, you can't win the game unless you've defeated all the creatures that are on your player mat. So you have to make sure that you're planning for that, because when you take some of these terrain tiles and action cards off this market board, they're going to have some creatures on there that you're going to have to deal with. So it has dice rolling in it, which I love. I mean, I love that kind of thing in my Euro games, that kind of randomness. And if you don't like that kind of randomness that dice bring to the game, this might not be for you. But man, what an outstanding game. And just recently, Game Nerds had this for $16. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Because the publishing is outstanding. That's one of the things I love about this game. For the $40 price tag that was on it at MSRP, it's up there with some other games that I'm going to present. It's just outstanding. This is for 2 to 4 players, plays in about 45 minutes, and it's just got that right complexity, as all these games I'm going to talk about today do. And such a fun game from Pandasaurus Games. I can't say enough about it. Bruno Cathala, it's a great game. I hope all of you got that $16 price point game from Game Nerds. Wow, what a bargain that was. Okay, next game I'm going to talk about is Quadropolis from Days of Wonder. Quadropolis was a game by Francois Gandon, and I don't know very much about Francois Gandon. I don't think he's designed that many board games, certainly none that are as popular as this one. He knocked it out of the park. This is a Grand Slam home run. Has kind of a funny looking cover, and I'm sure that's a turnoff for a lot of people, and may have been a turnoff to me at one time. But once you play this game, you forget all about any kind of biases you had towards the art. I wish it had a different art style to it, but it doesn't matter. In this game, you have a central board where you're going to have to place your architects in order to make a tile selection off of that board. You have a stack of architects, I think 4 in a 2-player game, and you're going to place that architect, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you take your number 3 architect and place it pointing towards a row of tiles, you're going to have to take that tile from the number 3 slot away from that architect arrow where you placed it, and that's the tile you're going to take and try and place on your player mat. Of course, all the tiles have a different function and a different way of scoring. You have to have customers and or energy cubes on those tiles to activate them and score them at the end of the game. So you're planning not only taking tiles, which tiles you want, when you want to take them, where you want to place them on your board, but how are you going to get the customers and energy cubes, because they come on the tiles you're selecting, and if you're selecting a tile without some of those, you're going to run short. You won't have enough to score your tiles at the end of the game. So much to think about. And there is a base variant in here, which is so wonderful. And then you can also, on the other side of the player mats, play a more expert level, which is good also. So much in this box. Heavy box, so nicely done by Days of Wonders. They're such a good publisher. I enjoy this game so much, and this game is for 2 to 4 players. It says 8 and up, and you can play this in 45 minutes, 2-player. By the way, all of the games I'm showing you today are outstanding at the 2-player count, which is very important to Lori and I. So that's Quadropolis. Okay, next game I'm going to talk about is from Rudiger Dorn. It's called Karuba, and this is published by Haba Games. It is also for 2 to 4 players. I think this game's from 2015. This may be the oldest game I'm going to present to you today. We love Karuba, and in Karuba you are landing on the beaches of Karuba, and you're going to blaze a trail through the jungle trying to get your explorers to the temple of the same color on the other side of the map, on the jungle edges. And the catch to this game is one player is going to be the head explorer, whatever you call it. Expedition leader, that's what it is. Expedition leader, and his tiles are going to be in a stack, and he is going to simply take a tile off the top of his stack, call out the tile number. Everybody else has to take that same tile with that number on it and place it on their map. So you can see how this is going to work, and that exploration leader is going to do the whole game like that, calling out a number, and you have to lay that tile down, and you're trying to do it in such a way that you get to those temples of the same color. Now you don't have to put that tile on your board. You can sacrifice it and discard it, and that will move your explorers. That's how you move your explorers. And you might want to take them down a certain path to pick up crystals and gold, because you get points for those also. A nice light tile laying game that has enough in it to keep your mind busy, to keep you coming back for more. A wonderful game by one of the best designers there is, and that's Rudiger Dorn. The guy's a proven winner, and this game's outstanding by Haba Games. Karuba, yeah! Alright, the next game I'm going to talk about is World Wonders. World Wonders was my top game from 2023. It was published by Arcane Wonders. It does have a solo variant. It plays 1 to 5, and it says 14 and up, and you can play this game in an hour at the 2-player count. This is a game with Orichalcum that I always give as an example of outstanding publishing for an inexpensive price. This is in the $40 price range along with Orichalcum, and what you get in the box is worth every penny of it. The wonders that are in here, hopefully you've seen this game on YouTube or being played somewhere. And it's so outstanding, but it's, again, a tile laying situation where you have a market board of selection, and all the tiles are laying on there by price. I think it starts at $2, $2, $3, $4, $5 or something like that, or gold, excuse me, you're spending gold. And that's one of the best mechanisms in this game, is everybody starts every round with the same amount of money. So you're going to start with 7 gold. I love that, because you don't have to worry about going out and getting resources to build stuff. You don't have to go out and get money. How am I going to get money? That's one of the main questions in board gaming when you're playing a board game. How do I get money to do this stuff? And in this one, you don't have to. It's given to you at the beginning of the round. 7 gold. That's all you have to spend. So you're going to maybe buy a tile from the market, or you're going to spend some of that gold on a wonder. And there's 3 wonders available all the time during the game. And you have to spend, you know, if you want that wonder to put on your board, if you need that to build your city, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can push your luck and pray that somebody doesn't take that wonder during the round, or you can spend your whole 7 gold to take that wonder. If you don't, and you push your luck and maybe it's still there at the end of the round and you only have 1 gold left, you can buy it for 1 gold. So you have to spend whatever gold you have left to take a wonder, is what I'm trying to tell you. And that plays a lot of strategy into the way you build your city on your board. There's so many things that go into building and expanding your city on this board. This game is so wonderful and beautiful. The wonders that are in it, the little wooden wonders that they built in this game, it's a blast, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely a crazy cool game, and that's World Wonders. The next game, you know what? I'm going to talk about Carpe Diem, but before I do, I should have said I tried to avoid popular games, tile laying games, in this video. Ones that you would say, oh, and they're on everybody's list. Now I'm talking about Azul, Castles of Burgundy,
Isle of Cats,
Carcassonne, because everybody knows those, and those are in my library, but I didn't want to talk about them today. I wanted to talk about games that are in my library that maybe you haven't played or heard of. But this is by Stefan Feld. It's not Castles of Burgundy, it's called Carpe Diem. This is my favorite Stefan Feld game. I love it. One of the reasons I love it so much is you can play it in 30 to 45 minutes with Stefan Feld complexity. It is so outstanding to do that. And the game itself puts pressure on you from the very start. And that's another thing I love about it. you have to complete a bonus card, which is there's a market of bonus cards on the left-hand side. It has a board that you put those bonus cards on. You have to complete one of those bonus cards at the end of the first round. So immediately, when you put those bonus cards out and you see what they are, you see what tiles are available to put on your board that you're going to be building, and you have to ask yourself, which one of those can I complete? Which one of those bonuses? I have to at least do one, because if I don't, I'm minus 8 points immediately. 8 points you're going to lose right off the bat. You can recover from that, but it makes it exponentially more difficult. So you're thinking right away, right from the get-go, how can I complete one of those bonus cards? And I love that about this game. And then in addition, you're going to be selecting tiles and building them on your board. You have little plastic cubes that are on the board called banderoles, and those are going to attract you and hold a carrot out in front of you if you want the benefit where that banderole is. I'm going to build there so that I can take that banderole and put it on the banderole bar, and however many banderoles you have on that banderole bar are going to determine how many points you get for that banderole bar at the end of the game. Plus you get the benefit of putting that tile on that space. Not to mention, around your player board are these jigsaw puzzle pieces. Each one of them, there's 4 of them around your player board, and each one of those pieces has 2 different goals that you have to try to accomplish when you're building a city.
Maybe?
No, your city. You improve your city districts. Yeah. So I mean, there's so much to enjoy about this game. The first time I played it, I liked it. The second time I played it, I loved it, and that love has never been questioned anytime after that. Every time I play it, I absolutely love it. Carpe Diem, seize the day. You're trying to do that.
That's been reprinted too.
This has been reprinted. This is original copy. It has a star in the center where you move your governor or whatever the guy is in that star shape, and you have to do that in order to make a tile selection. They changed it so that you went around in a circle. I don't like it as well. This is the game we love and adore. There was a publishing issue with it. I'm going to warn you, if you get this first edition, there are sets of tiles that have light green backs and dark green backs. It was hard to tell the difference, so we just simply took little white dot stickers and put them either on the dark or the light.
They're on the dark
ones. On the dark
Whichever
green.
one there were less
Yeah.
of.
So fixed it immediately. It was no big deal. The game is outstanding. It's my favorite game from Stefan Feld, and that's saying a lot because I'm in love with so much of his stuff. Castle Burgundy, Bruges, Macau, Oracle Delphi. I mean, you just name it. I love that guy as a designer, but this is my favorite, and that's Carpe Diem. Okay, this is a game by Jeffrey D. Allers called Citrus. Citrus plays 2 to 5 players. You can play this in an hour, 2-player. Citrus, you are building plantations on a main board, not a player board. You have a main board, and everybody's using that main board to build plantations around fincas. That's what it is, around some fincas. And it's going to be an area majority way of scoring. You have 2 things you can do on your turn. You can select tiles to place on the board, or you can harvest. And you have to harvest to make money to buy things. So it's a balancing act. When do I harvest? Do I feel like I have enough scoring opportunities around that finca in order to harvest and get some money? Because I'm almost out of money. I've spent most of my money, so I need to get some more money. So I should harvest now and then lay out some more tiles. There's also tiles on the board you can acquire that give you extra bonus points and extra benefits. The selection mechanism of tiles in this game is outstanding. There was another game that used this very thing, wasn't it? What, do you remember what it was? I cannot. Where you're going to take every tile that's in the row or column.
Agueda.
Agueda, the umbrella
City of
game?
Umbrellas.
Okay, City of Umbrellas,
Yeah.
Agueda,
It
yeah.
just came out. That one's like that.
So they kind of copied that from Citrus. Clemens Franz does the art. As you can see, it's very Agricola-like. I used to hate that picture on the front, and now I love it. I don't know, it kind of grew on me. And the Citrus board itself, when it has all those colorful plantation tiles on there, is just beautiful. It's oranges and lemons, and I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 different plantation tiles, but they're all colorful and they're all beautiful, and I love this game. We've had it since this game first came out, 2017, a year which a lot of games got overlooked because of the big splash, the big Gloomhaven splash of 2017. Many games got ignored. I didn't ignore this one, and I never will, and that's Citrus by Jeffrey D. Allers. All right. Okay, this is a new game called Shake That City. I think it's from 2023. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure. 2023.
Something.
23. In this game, it's very generic as far as what you're doing. You're taking tiles and placing them on a board. The way you place them scores different points. The colors of them have to do with what they do. And then it has an outside edge that's going to have some bonus and scoring opportunities around that board also. Okay? But the thing that makes this game different is this little mechanism in it that has wooden cubes. And if you haven't seen this, hopefully you've seen this. It's this little Shake That City thing, you know, it's full of cubes, and you're simply going to shake it around like that and then press the mechanism and pull it out, and it leaves 9 cubes on the table. And you're going to start selecting those cubes depending on what you want to do, because they're different colors and they do different things. So, man, I mean, if you think that isn't cool, that makes me keep this game. This mechanism right here makes me keep this game. I don't know if maybe that's shallow. I don't care. That is brilliant. I love it. And so when you are going to select those cubes, you're thinking about what colors do I want? What do I want to do on this player board? And building my own point scoring machine on this player board. Such a fascinating little mechanism. I think I saw Rahdo do this game and get a review of it, and I said, yeah, that sold me. I definitely want to try that game. We tried it and we liked it and we love it, and that's called Shake That City. I say 1 to 4 players, so it has a solo variant, which we never play, but it's 1 to 4 players, and 20 to 40 minutes, that's about right. I'd say about half an hour for Lori and I to go through a game of this. So much fun, Shake That City. The next game is another game that Bruno Cathala had his fingerprints on. So Bruno Cathala and Evan Singh, Ishtar, Gardens of Babylon. And in Ishtar, you are building on a central board. You are selecting tiles and building those tiles on a central board around fountains, and they're different color fountains. Depending on the color of fountain will tell you how many points you're going to score for having the majority of flowers around that fountain. There's 3 or 4 fountains on the player board. It's a modular board, which is very cool, and then you have 3 or 4 fountains. Not all the fountains will be in play, but you have 3 or 4 that you're going to put on the board. And when you're laying those tiles, it's very difficult to do that without having the tiles touch each other. Because the tiles, let's say you're putting around the white fountain, if you're putting a tile down around the purple fountain and it happens to touch the tiles that are adjacent to that white fountain, you can't do that. It's illegal. It's very easy to make that mistake.
Yep.
You have bonus cards that are going to be at the top of the board, and you can get points for having and paying crystals that you've earned by how you place those tiles on the board. This game is very pretty. It's fun to look at. The market board is gorgeous. Use a watering can to travel around the market board and make your selection on those tiles. There might be some iconography that's going to give you a special benefit. On your player board, you can get special benefits by completing levels of requirement, and you have to complete the bottom level of requirement in order to receive the benefit on the top, to be able to even complete that and get that benefit. So there's just enough, again, going on to keep Lori and I very happy, where we like that medium complexity game that can play pretty quickly. Ishtar plays for 2 to 4 players in about 45 minutes, and that's right in our wheelhouse. When it comes to tile laying, you don't want it to be too complicated. And I also stayed away from games that were hugely tile laying games like Feast for Odin. I mean, you are tile laying in that game, but it's a worker placement game, and you have 60-some worker placement spots. So I stayed away from things like that. But Ishtar, Gardens of Babylon, and I saw them having this at a cheap price. For whatever reason, some games just don't catch on. Folks, if you can play this game and tell me you did not have fun, oh man, leave a comment.
There are people that say that.
Yeah, this game is incredible. I love Bruno Cathala. First of all, I love Abyss. I love Yamatai. I love everything he's ever... Rory Calcum. I mean, the guy's a great designer, and Ishtar is no different. Okay, let's talk about a game by Michael Kiesling called Miyabi. This is published by Haba Games. It's for 2 to 4 players. And it came out of it's pretty new. I mean, it came out maybe
22, maybe
21. I don't know. It's an outstanding game. It's a tile laying game with a really boring theme of building a Japanese garden. I mean, when I saw the theme of this game, I thought, oh no, I don't know about this. And because, you know, let's face it, we like things that have an interesting theme. I don't know what possibly, this could have been any number of things, okay? Because it's an abstract situation. You're just laying tiles trying to score points. And the way you do this, you have lanterns at the top of your player board. And whenever you put something in that column, you have to move that lantern off your board. And you can put nothing else in that column for that particular round. And when you're making those selections of tiles, you have to think about that. And you can layer these, so you can go up 2 and 3 layers, and you get 2 times the points and 3 times the points if you are building on those layers upwards. And your board is going, of course, going to lose space and get tight. And I love that shrinking space element, like some other games, and I just enjoy that. And in Miyabi also you have 5 modules in here that change the game and make it more difficult and more fun if that's what you're looking for. You know, Haba has a reputation of doing lighter games. There's a lot in this box as far as complex gameplay, and I enjoy Miyabi. Michael Kiesling, of course, one of the best board game designers ever. I enjoy this game so much. We bought it when it was brand new. I was sold on it. I watched it played one time. I said, that's for us. And sure enough, we brought it home and we've not stopped playing it since. And that's Miyabi by Michael Kiesling. Okay, well, while I'm on the subject of Michael Kiesling, let's do 2 games. This one is by Michael Kiesling. This one is by Kramer and Kiesling, you know, his teammate, Wolfgang Kramer. And the reason why I want to do these 2 together is they have a similar mechanism in them where you have a selection wheel that changes value of whatever's on that wheel, like this here. This wheel in Palaces of Carrara. In Palaces of Carrara, you're building a city, and you are selecting resources in order to do that. This is the German edition, by the way. It's called Die Palast von Carrara. But the decisions that you make in this game are juicy, and it takes a few plays to understand how deep this game is. And once you do, you start to enjoy how much love there is to be played in this game. I just adore this game. This is back in the days when you couldn't find a copy of this. Now they've reprinted it, and you can find it very inexpensively. But we had, I think I paid $80 for this.
We paid a lot for it.
Yeah, because you couldn't get it at the time, and this is a German copy, like I say. Of course, we downloaded the English rules off of Board Game Geek, but this game is just amazing, and that's Die Palast von Carrara, or Palaces of Carrara. For those of you 2 to 4 players, you can play this 2-player in an hour. Just so much to love about that game, as there is in Michael Kiesling's Vikings. This is for 2 to 4 players. 60 minutes, that's about right for 2 players. And in this game, you have the same wheel mechanism. You know, I'm sure Michael thought, you know what, I'm gonna do something else with that wheel. So yeah, you're gonna have this spinning wheel, and you'll have a set of a tile and Vikings. You have tiles in these square pictures around here, and on the outside there's some lighter green squares with each one of those, and there's going to be a Viking on there, and of different colors. You're going to draw them out randomly, and so this wheel tells you how much you're going to have to pay for that tile and that color Viking combination. And so you are trying to time this, because as you take them, this wheel's going to turn and things will get cheaper. So, man, do I want to wait for that? What's my opponent going to take? You know, is that going to get cheaper? Should I take that now, pay the higher price, or wait for my opponent to take something and then this wheel turns? So those decisions keep you going. And then in your play area, you're going to have this framework, and depending on where you put those tiles right here, tells you how they're going to score, and you have to lay them out. And so, you know, every tile you select's got to touch a tile that you've already placed in there. So it gets very difficult, very tough decisions to make in this game. I can't imagine anybody not having this game. So every time we play it, we adore it, and just are blessed to be able to have a game like this called Vikings by Michael Kiesling, published by Rio Grande Games. It's so thinky. I just put the lid on upside down. So I don't like that. I'm sorry. There. So I'm changing it right now. Here we go. Vikings by Michael Kiesling. What year did this come out? This came out in 2007. This is the oldest game that I'm going to talk about
I
today.
guess it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were wrong.
I
Before.
was wrong. This is 2007. And I got this new in the shrink, didn't I?
Yeah.
I got this new in the shrink like 3 years ago, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, I saw somebody on YouTube talking about this game and how great it was, and they said, this is somebody else's copy, I just wanted to review it, but I found one on BGG that was shrink wrapped for a cheap price, and I think I'm going to, after my video, get that. You know what? I got on BGG and it was on there. I nabbed it. I hope it wasn't the one he was looking for, because I stole it.
Well, if it was, you should have done it sooner.
Yeah. All right. Gosh. You know what? Let's keep going with Kramer and Kiesling. I mean, I don't know what else to do here. These guys,
They're tile layers.
they know what they're doing. This is Renature. Came out a couple of years ago for 2 to 4 players. You can play it in 45 minutes. Area control, domino laying meets area control. It's just an outstanding looking game, first of all, because you have these big, thick wooden dominoes that you're going to lay up on the main board. You have a player board that has some pieces that you're going to put out, plants and bushes and trees, and those are going to determine how many points you have in a certain area, how much power you got in that area to score points. And it has a board here, a main board, where you're going to put and lay these wooden dominoes. I don't want to take them all out of here, you guys, but I mean, this box is packed full of wooden stuff, and you have pictures of animals on those dominoes. You can change what's wild. This is wherever that marker happens to be, that particular animal is wild, so you can place it anywhere. And you can change that by playing a cloud off your player board, and you only have so many of those. And then also in this game, you're going to have neutral colored plants that you're able to play off your player board also to nullify some of your opponent's scoring abilities. And that may be a rub for some people, because that can seem mean, but it's not. You just plan on it. Hey, it's going to happen before the game starts. You just tell yourself, my opponent's going to decide. I have to be as smart as I can be with how I place that stuff. So that is Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling's Renature. Again, I don't know if this game's for everybody. It's just for me. So, yeah. Lori and I love playing it. It's got that little bit of mean streak where you're going to steal. You're going to steal.
You got to know when you start playing.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just, when the first time I played it, I thought, that's an instant classic. That game is incredible. Now, this is Michael Kiesling again in Sanssouci. And in Sanssouci, this is a hand management style selection mechanism when it comes to taking tiles off the market board. Every player has the same hand of cards, and you're going to draw 3 off your deck, and those 3 you have to make a decision, and they'll tell you what color tiles you can take, depending on the color that's on the card. So it becomes a matter of, do I wait on things in my deck to show up because I need this particular tile, or should I take this other one from this other row? The decisions are interesting always, and this game plays differently every time. And you have a player board where you're going to place those tiles and make a path from the top to the bottom of the board. So you have all these noblemen at the top of your player board, and you want to get them as far down to the bottom of your board as you can. Well, they don't have to take a direct route. They can take indirect routes. So they could go down, go over, go down again, go over again. However, you have to place those tiles in order to get those noblemen down to the bottom, as far down to the bottom as you can get them, because that's how you're going to score more points. That's what the goal of the game. So outstanding. 2 to 4 players, plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. Again, for a tile laying game, that's right in our wheelhouse. That is called Sanssouci by Michael Kiesling. This is another game that's been reprinted. We had an original copy, and just keep loving it. Yeah. All right, let's go with a Uwe Rosenberg game called, Uwe Rosenberg, I should say, also Corné van Morsel. Corné van Morsel did Habitats, right?
Yep.
And we had Habitats for a while. It's a wonderful tile laying game.
Tile laying game, yeah.
Yeah, but they collaborated on Nova Luna, and in Nova Luna, Uwe uses that mechanism where if you're in the back, you get to go. you know, on this selection ring, because you're going to have tiles around this selection ring.
Last is first.
Yep, last is first. Yeah, you can move as far as 3 spaces along this ring, but do you really want to do that? Because if you do, your opponent may be able to take more than 1 turn. And that's the beauty. He uses that in Patchwork, and I'm sure,
Cottage Garden, all those games.
Yeah,
Spring Meadow.
Kraftwagen uses it. Matthias Kramer's Kraftwagen used that particular mechanism. Thebes, I think,
Glenmore.
works like that. Huh?
Glenmore.
Glenmore, yeah. So that's a fun mechanism because it always makes you think, how badly do I want to get what I want? You know, you have to weigh that every time you make that decision. And then the tiles themselves you're going to lay in front of you. This is a racing game. You have 20 markers, and in order to put a marker in your area, you have to have completed the pattern on one of the tiles that's in your play area. And then once you completed the pattern for that tile, you can put your marker on it. And when you do that, you just keep building more and more. And the first one to place their 20th marker wins the game. There's no bonus points, no waiting to add up a score. Hey, there's my 20th pattern completion right there. I win. That's the way this game works. The catch to this is you can't use the tile. The tile that's telling you what pattern to build, you can't use that in your pattern. And some people have a tough time wrapping their head around that. My sister had a real tough time with it, remember?
She had a hard time with
Had a hard time understanding that. But that is so amazing. And Nova Luna, wow, just an incredible creation by Uwe Rosenberg and Corne van Moorsel. Yeah, just a wild, wild game. Oh, wait a minute, did I say how many players? 1 to 4 players, so it can be played solo. And half an hour playtime, that's spot on. Just absolutely outstanding. And because of that half an hour playtime, you're going to play it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
when you get it out.
Play it more than once. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way that is. All right. Here we go with Kevin Russ's Calico. I gave this game of the year when it came out, and I don't ever go back on that. I just absolutely love this game. It's 2020. I was the only one that picked this as game of the year as far as reviewers that I watch on YouTube, and I haven't backed off of that. I love this game. It's my favorite from the Flat Out Games AEG line, which concludes Cascadia, Verdant, and Nocturne. Those are the 4 that they've put out.
Fit to print.
Fit to print? Okay. That's the only one we didn't buy, yeah. So
Real time.
But this is our favorite. Out of those 4 games that I just mentioned, Calico is my favorite. It is such a pressure cooker because you have a board that you're building a quilt on, and it's limited space, just like Tiny Towns. And you have that space shrinking on you for every time you place a tile. So you're asking yourself continually, am I going to push my luck here? Am I going to wait on that one tile I need to score the most points in this particular area? Or do I just take a tile and try to take the lesser points just to get something for that? You have 3 tiles that are going to start out the game on your quilt, and they each have scoring requirements as to how you place tiles around them. For the most points, it has a points range on them depending on how you do that, whether you do it in different colors or all the same color. And just an outstanding game by Kevin Russ. Just a wonderful, wonderful. There's people who don't like this though because it's pressure and it's push your luck. And some people say, well, it's out of my control. It's out of your control to be perfect, but it is in your control to try to do the best you can to score the most points that you can score in this game. Not to mention, it's cute as all get out with these cats. I mean, and I have cats, but we love this kitty cat in the front. In the back of the rule book, it's got the story of each of the cats that's in this game. So much fun when you complete that quilt, have those bonus kitty cat tiles on your quilt that you get to score more points. It's an adorable game, and there's enough in here to keep your mind busy. You won't be thinking about anything else except cats. So that's Calico by Kevin Russ. All right, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the last game of the day is from Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesen. These guys are the Tile Laying Kings. I can't, again, imagine anybody not having this game in their library. I don't care if you are an Ameritrasher that plays nothing but dungeon crawlers, if you're, all into the big miniatures games. Anybody that plays this game and can tell me they didn't have fun doing it, I don't know if they should have a driver's license. This game is outstanding. And it takes a simple mechanism and makes a whole game around it. We are going to simply have a player board with all your animal tiles lying on it. Each player starts out with exactly the same board, and then what's going to happen is one player is going to pick a tile up, much like Aruba, call out what's on that tile, 2 giraffes at a watering hole. Everybody has to take their tile with 2 giraffes in a watering hole, pick it up, put your meerkat on that space so you don't place that tile back in that space, and then you have to lay that on your player board in a different spot. And that mechanism is beautiful. And you're going to have to build a scoring machine doing that with every tile on your board. And there's places you can put those that are going to cost you points, or places you can put them that will score you the most points, because it scores by adjacency, where all your elephants are going to be touching each other. They'll be multiplied by the number of elephants there are times the number of watering holes in that adjacency. So if you have 3 watering holes and you have 6 elephants, you're going to score 18 points. And so you're thinking about that the whole time you're building. And they have, what are those fires called? Just fires?
Yeah.
Bushfires.
Bushfires, wildfires.
So the bushfires, there's 1s, 2s, and 3s. So if you have a number 2 bushfire on your board in a square, and you place a tile around that number 2 bushfire that only has 2 animals on it, it nullifies that tile, and you've just lost everything you built for that particular area or whatever you were trying to do. And I don't know, inevitably somebody does that. No matter how hard Lori and I try, one of us will say, oh my gosh, I placed that 3 elephant tile with a water hole right next to that 3 bushfire, that number 3 bushfire, and it cut my trail of elephants in half, so I only scored this many points instead of that many points. Wow, this game is fantastic. It is brilliant. And what was the other game we had? Caldera Park. It introduces weather element into the game. It is also a beautiful game. We just have so many games, we had to make a choice, and we went with the simplest one, that's Savannah Park, and it plays 1 to 4 players in 20 to 40 minutes from Deep Print games and Capstone games. Yeah, Capstone games. So, I mean, guys, outstanding. Kramer Kiesling, obviously the winners here today with making tile laying games.
So this is a Kramer Kiesling video.
That's my top 10 tile laying games. It wasn't 10, I know, so what, you have math skills. That's great. I'm glad you caught that. But those are games that are in our library we wanted to talk to you about today that we play over and over and over again. And they're games, most of them, where you can play in 30 to 60 minutes, and sometimes there is a lot to be said for getting games like that to the table, because you don't have to spend a lot of time there. You're busy people, all of you. I guarantee you on this planet, you're busy. You're busy surviving, doing the best you can to make a life for yourself, and sometimes you cannot sit down at a gaming table for all those hours. You can sometimes, because we do. We sit down and, we'll play Plum Island Horror for 4 hours, but it has to be the right day in the right situation. But these tile laying games that we showed you, Lori and I are in love with and have played them many, many times over, and they're not going anywhere. Again, I just like a library of different style of games to enjoy, and these are our tile laying games. So that's the video for today. What are your favorite tile laying games? Maybe I've missed some. Please leave a list of them in the comments, because I can't play all games, neither can you, and sometimes between the 2 of us we can figure out some games that we missed, and maybe when we go to convention we can play those games. But yeah, leave any comments you have about these games at the end of the video, or games that you think that you love so much, games that you have in your library that are incredible. Yeah, please like if you haven't, and subscribe. And we love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the doggone planet because of games that I showed you today. And I'll see you the next time here on The Bones Collector. Bye-bye.